Hi, welcome to Side Quest D, the Fox's X-Men Saga. Now, after the events of Loki Season 1 and the expansion of the multiverse, we can now explore stories and adventures outside of the sacred timeline. Now, do note, we will not be watching these X-Men films in chronological order, as 20th Century Fox struggled with the idea of continuity. So to give you the best cinematic experience, we're going to get to know the original cast of X-Men first, before going back in time to watch X-Men First Class. Now, the reason why we're doing this is to give cameos such as Wolverine, seen in X-Men First Class, more impact. And by the time you get to X-Men Days of Future Past, you will know all of the characters involved in that film. Now, I can't stress enough how important this side quest is, as many characters from this side quest will pop up again in our main quest films. Now, before we begin, may I remind you that this video will contain spoilers, and it will take you approximately 25 hours and 53 minutes to complete this side quest. So, strap in, grab some popcorn, and let's get started. First, we're going to watch X-Men Origins Wolverine as we follow a young James Howlett as he manifests his mutant abilities. We also get to see how the metal known as adamantium gets bonded to his skeleton. This film introduces us to a large ensemble cast, such as his half-brother Victor Creed, also known as Sabretooth, William Stryker, Silver Fox, Remy LeBeau, also known as Gambit, the Blob, a young Scott Summers, and a very unusual version of Deadpool. Now, this film does contain a couple of end credit scenes, so make sure you hang around till the very end. Taking place in the not too distant future, we're going to watch X-Men. Here, we continue to follow Wolverine as he encounters more mutants. We are introduced to characters such as Rogue, Jean Grey, Storm, Magneto, Toad, and Mystique, and returning from X-Men Origins Wolverine, Professor Charles Xavier, Scott Summers, also known as Cyclops, and Sabretooth. This film also gives us some great mutant cameos such as Jubilee, Kitty Pryde, Pyro, and Iceman. Next, we're going to watch X2 X-Men United, where we're introduced to characters such as Nightcrawler and Lady Deathstrike. We continue to explore the complex relationship between Wolverine and William Stryker, whom we met last in X-Men Origins Wolverine. We continue to get some awesome cameos such as Colossus and Siren, and we see Jean Grey tap into the Phoenix Force. Next, we're going to watch X-Men The Last Stand, the final part to this X-Men trilogy. We see Jean Grey turn into the Dark Phoenix, and we explore the Mutants Cure story arc. We're introduced to Beast, Angel, Multiple Man, Juggernaut, and Moira McTaggart, and make sure you hang around for the end credit scene for a very interesting reveal. Next, we're going to watch The Wolverine. Here, we journey with Logan as he deals with his grief after the events of X-Men The Last Stand. We see Wolverine travel to Japan, where we are introduced to characters such as Yukio, Mariko, Viper, and the Silver Samurai. Now, the end credit scene leads us into X-Men Days of Future Past. From here, we're going to go back in time and watch X-Men First Class, where we are introduced to younger versions of Professor X, Moira McTaggart, Mystique, and Beast. We also get an extension of Magneto's origin, an almost scene-for-scene recreation of the origin that we saw from the first X-Men film. We are introduced to new characters such as Havoc, Banshee, Sebastian Shaw, and Azazel, and we get a cameo from the Wolverine. Next, we're going to watch X-Men Days of Future Past. Not only is this a sequel to X-Men First Class, but an extension of the end credit scene that we saw in The Wolverine. This film brings together the original X-Men cast from the X-Men trilogy, as well as the new cast that we've just met in X-Men First Class. This film deals with time travel, and we see how the events of this film impacts and shapes the future of the X-Men. We're introduced to new characters such as Bishop, Blink, Sunspot, and Quicksilver, as well as Bolivar Trask and his Sentinel program. Now, there are two versions of this film, and I would recommend you watch the Rogue Cut version, as the character of Rogue was completely edited out in the theatrical release. From here, we will continue journeying with the younger cast of X-Men with X-Men Apocalypse. We are introduced to Ensa Bonheur, an ancient mutant known as Apocalypse. We see younger versions of Scott Summers, Jean Grey, Storm, Nightcrawler, Angel, Jubilee, and Psylocke. We also get a brief cameo of Weapon X, also known as Wolverine, and it is hinted at that Quicksilver is the son of Magneto. Next, we're going to watch X-Men Dark Phoenix, a retelling of the Dark Phoenix saga that we saw back in X-Men The Last Stand. We are introduced to an alien race known as the Dabari, and we get a great cameo from the mutant known as Dazzler. Now this film marks the end of this particular X-Men series. Next, we're going to watch Deadpool, which introduces us to the proper version of Wade Wilson. Now the character of Deadpool is known to break the fourth wall, as he references the two different actors that played Professor X from the films that we have just watched. We also get a more comic book accurate version of Colossus and new characters such as Vanessa, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, Ajax, and Blind Al. And if you look really carefully somewhere in the background, you might find a SHIELD helicarrier. Next, we're going to watch New Mutants. Now this film is quite standalone and is set sometime in the distant future. We are introduced to Danielle Moonstar, Wolfsbane, Sam Guthrie, also known as Cannonball, Sunspot, and Ileana Rasputin, also known as Magic, the sister of Colossus. We also see the introduction of Demon Bear and a little dragon known as Lockheed. Set in the year 2029, we are going to watch Logan, as we follow an older Wolverine in a world where the majority of mutants are gone. We see the return of Professor X and Caliban, whom we were introduced to back in X-Men Apocalypse, and new characters such as X-23 and Donald Pierce. By the end of this film, we see the tragic death of Logan, and this concludes his arc in the Fox's X-Men saga. There is also a noir version of this film, should you choose to watch this in black and white. To conclude the Fox's X-Men saga, we are going to watch Deadpool 2. As Deadpool continues to break the fourth wall, we see him make a joke about Logan's death in the form of an action figure, and we see a cameo from the most recent team of the X-Men. We see the return of Vanessa, Blind Al, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, Colossus, and an accurately sized Juggernaut, but also being introduced to new characters such as Cable, Domino, and Shatterstar. By the end of this film, we see Deadpool travel back in time to kill off the dodgy version of Deadpool that we saw back in X-Men Origins Wolverine, bringing the Fox's X-Men saga full circle. There are also a couple of variations of this film, such as an extended cut called the Super Duper Cut and a PG version called Once Upon a Time, a Deadpool. Congratulations, you've just completed SideQuest D, the Fox's X-Men saga. From here, we will continue to explore the multiverse in SideQuest E, the Marvel Legacy Saga. Here, we will watch films such as Fantastic Four, Daredevil, Elektra, Blade, The Punisher, and Ghost Rider, and I can't stress enough how important these films will be moving forward. So, let's continue to do our homework, and I'll see you in the next video. If you like this content, may I kindly invite you to hit the like and subscribe button down below, and hit the notification bell to stay up to date with any changes made to this timeline. And let me know down in the comment section below your favorite film from the Fox's X-Men saga.